All right, welcome. Today, we are diving deep into the single most vital pump that we all have. We're talking about that tireless, life-sustaining engine right at the very center of our being, the human heart. So, let me ask you a question. What do you think powers the most important delivery service in the entire world? I'm talking about one that runs 24/7, never takes a holiday, and it's happening inside your own body right now. Well, the answer is the star of our show today, the heart. It's the powerhouse of the entire cardiovascular system. And at its core, that's what the system is. It's your body's main transport network. It's not just about delivering the good stuff like nutrients and oxygen. It's also the sanitation crew hauling away waste. And it even acts as a thermostat, regulating your body's temperature and pH to make sure every single cell has exactly what it needs to survive. So let's get into the specifics of how this all works. Probably the best way to picture this whole system is as a massive, intricate superhighway. But what's really fascinating here is that this isn't a one-way street. It's a completely closed-loop system. Blood is always circulating, and it does so through two major circuits. You've got one going to the lungs and another one going to the rest of the body. And yeah, all of it is powered by that single incredible pump. To really wrap our heads around this, let's just follow a single drop of blood on its amazing journey through the body. Okay, so our little drop of blood starts its trip after it's delivered all its oxygen, so it's deoxygenated. It comes back to the right side of the heart. From there, it gets pumped straight to the lungs to drop off all that carbon dioxide and, more importantly, pick up a fresh supply of oxygen. Now that it's all revitalized, it zips back to the powerful left side of the heart, which then gives it a mighty push, sending it out to the entire body. And that's the systemic circuit. So we've seen the superhighway. Now let's go right inside the engine room itself and take a look at the heart's amazing structure. Honestly, the heart's design is just brilliant. It's got 4 chambers, 2 atria up top that act as receiving rooms for the blood, and 2 powerful ventricles at the bottom that do all the heavy-duty pumping. It also has 4 perfectly engineered valves to control the flow, and the whole thing is built from 3 distinct layers. The one in the middle, the myocardium, that's the thick, muscular wall that does all the real work. And those valves, just think of them as perfect one-way doors. They swing open to let blood pass through, and then they snap shut to make absolutely sure none of it flows backward. That precision is everything. Okay, here's a little thought experiment for you. See, the atria, the top chambers, they actually contract just a split second before the ventricles do. So what do you think would happen if they both contracted at the exact same time? Would the heart pump more blood or less? The answer is way less. That tiny little delay is crucial because it allows the atria to top off the ventricles, kind of priming them for a much more powerful and efficient contraction. It's all in the timing. Okay, so we've covered the plumbing, right? But now let's talk about the electricity, that incredible spark of life that actually makes the heart beat. This is where things get really wild. The heart has this incredible property called automaticity. And what that means is that its muscle cells can actually generate their own electrical beat all on their own, without any signal from the brain. I mean, if you were to take a heart out of the body, it would literally keep beating by itself for a little while. How crazy is that? Now, this automatic beat isn't just random chaos, it's perfectly coordinated. Think of it like an orchestra, and the chief conductor is this tiny cluster of cells called the sinoatrial node, or the SA node for short. This is the heart's natural pacemaker, and it sets a nice, steady rhythm of about 80 to 100 beats per minute, all by itself. But of course, our heart rate needs to adapt to what we're doing, and that's where the nervous system steps in with basically a brake and a gas pedal. The parasympathetic system, that's your brake. It slows the heart rate down when you're chilling out. And the sympathetic system, that's your accelerator, speeding things up when you need to exercise or, run from a bear. This whole electrical system is just amazing. But it's invisible, right? So how do we actually see it in action? How can we listen in on this spark of life? Well, that brings us to one of the most important tools in all of medicine. It's called an electrocardiogram, or an ECG, and what it does is pretty amazing. It doesn't just measure the electricity in one single cell. Nope. It captures the sum of all the electrical activity happening across the entire heart. This tells us about the timing, the direction, and the sheer strength of those electrical waves. So let's quickly decode what those squiggly lines on the screen actually mean. Each bump and spike tells a story. That first little bump, that's the atria contracting. That big, sharp spike in the middle, that's the powerful ventricles doing their main pump. And that final wave, That shows everything electrically resetting for the very next beat. It's a complete cycle in one little picture. But it's not just about the shape of the waves. The timing, the space between them, is absolutely crucial. Doctors can measure these intervals to see exactly how long it takes for that electrical signal to travel through different parts of the heart. If one of these intervals is too long or too short, it could mean there's a problem, maybe a block in the signal's path. Every single part of this waveform tells a detailed story. So when you put it all together, analyzing the shapes of the waves and the timing between them, the ECG becomes this unbelievably powerful window into the heart. It lets doctors see the heart's rhythm, spot any abnormalities, and even detect signs of damage or stress. And just take a second to think about the sheer scale of this workload. Every single day, your heart performs this intricate cycle over 100,000 times. That is an insane amount of work, enough to pump around 2,000 gallons of blood a day. It's just a staggering feat of endurance. You know, a quote from our source material really sums it all up perfectly. It highlights that it's not just about the pump, it's the concerted integration, the perfect, harmonious teamwork between the heart and all the blood vessels that makes life possible. So let's end on this thought. This unbelievably complex, life-sustaining ballet of electricity and mechanics is happening inside you right now, this very second, and you don't have to think about it at all. So what does this incredible automatic engineering inside each and every one of us tell us about our own capacity for resilience? Something to think about.